I'm gonna make a quick part 3 just so I finish what I'm talking about. But you know, the people in your life are in your life for a reason. You see, it basically works like this. People of frequency, people are your vibration. This is why friends that I used to talk to back in the day, okay, it's not that I stopped talking to them on purpose. They just completely disappeared because they were not of frequency of where I'm at now. You know what I mean? And we can't even have a conversation like we used to back in the day. You know what I mean? Because the shit they talk about, such as like partying and girls, is like, to me, it's a waste of time. You get what I'm saying? And it's not to because you can live your experience, but you have to know what level of mental state you're in. And for you to actually get into a conversation with like that with certain people, you really have to lower your frequency. But that's also being inauthentic. You have to know that that's not what you're about anymore. And that's why it's not like you want to do that and just cut, because if you feel comfortable talking about it, then that means that you can still do it. But you'll know if that's not what you're about anymore, is if you feel uncomfortable when you're having certain conversations with people. That's when you know you don't belong there no more. You know what I'm saying? It's not to, oh, now I'm conscious, I can't talk to them. No, because if you feel good talking, they keep talking to them. Then that's fine. That means you're still good. You can still mingle with them. But it doesn't make you any less conscious. You got to understand that, because that's the whole ego thing. See, me, in my opinion, there's certain conversations I can't get into with certain people anymore because it's like, it makes me feel unconscious. It's like a waste of my time. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, basically, when you self-empower, is really becoming very self-sufficient. Know that everything you do is spiritual. Everything you're doing is a ritual. When you garden, it's a ritual. Okay? And like I mentioned before, you don't just take seeds and throw them outside. And the reason why is because, first of all, the soil that you're throwing them outside in is not meant to have those seeds in there, because it's not the same soil as the woods. People would say, well, what's the difference between the soil in your garden and the soil in the woods? The soil in my garden, this was just grass. See, the soil in the woods and in the forest is already composted, because all the leaves that fall every season on top of the soil actually makes that compost, and it gives a lot of nutrients and nitrogen to the soil. You know what I'm saying? So if you go in the woods or the forest and you dig on, let's say you take all the leaves out and then you look underneath, it's actually moist, but that soil is dark. It's black. It's like black gold. That's because that's worm castings and a lot of a perfect balance of microbes in there to create a perfect ecosystem to make that soil nutrient dense and nutrient rich. Here it was just grass. You see, grass doesn't do that. Grass just dies and then comes back in the summertime. But if you look, and let's say I just dig, let's say a couple of inches down, it's still really, really clay soil. You know what I mean? You would have to make holes, and then you can condition, eventually you condition all your soil to be like that. But that takes years. You know what I'm saying? So right now I have a lot of plants, and I'm going to do that walkthrough, just not today. But I want to do that because the sun is about to go down, and I don't want to get caught, you know, in the dark doing it, because then it makes no sense. I can't see the yard. But you know, there's going to be a food forest. And the thing is that it's going to be all greens, all trees, and all different types of plants that are planted everywhere. And you know, ever since I got into that gardening, that's just now the vision that I've had. But as that vision, what did I do? Now I put it into practice, because it started with a thought, and I saw the yard, how it's going to look in my mind. And what I do now is I started to, you know, compost. And sometimes, like I said, things are going to look the way they want to, but you got to put in the work. That's a ritual. I saw it happening, and already I've been doing it all winter, composting and digging holes, and I got compost bins and all that, and I plant all my plants. And that now, it's going to eventually be a food forest, because it's already created here. It's already done. You know what I'm saying? And with the intention of making sure that I can get my own food, my own herbs, because I got sections where I'm growing just pure, the earth is doing its thing. I don't touch certain herbs and what we call weeds. I let them grow in certain areas in my yard. And I let them grow, and what's happening is that I use those herbs, I make teas, or I just basically eat them raw, or I mix them in with my salads. You know what I'm saying? You know, like yesterday I had eggs, you know, from the farm, and what I do is I take the herbs and I throw it in, mix it in all together, and you know, you just eat it. I don't cook the herbs most of the time though. You know what I'm saying? But that comes with a little bit of knowledge. But you have to understand, what you know out here, you let it go to acquire a spiritual gnosis of it. It's like you let one thing go. And that's why they say love, if it's meant to be, it'll come back to you. So you let what you think you know go, and the real form of information will actually come to you. See, information forms it's information. And if you hold on to, because everything's belief, but if you hold on to that, it's just forming blockages. So you're not going to be open-minded. See, when people come out and say, I'm going to blow the lid off this shit, and they start wanting to talk about what this shit really is about out here when it comes down to this, coronavirus or COVID-19, you know what I'm saying? Even saying that, you're coming from the wrong space if you really want to ask me, because saying I'm going to blow the lid off this shit, you really don't know anything. You get what I'm saying? Blowing the lid off this shit would be really blowing the lid off this shit, coming out your fucking crown chakra and seeing the big picture of what the fuck is going on out here. You know what I mean? Because you can go into all these systems. The thing is that we're so projected into looking at all the systems outside of us, like governmental system, the education system. We want to look at, like if you work in a job, all the different departments. Those are all different systems. And when you're a manager, now you're managing all these systems. Then when you become a CEO, right, you overlook all the systems. But for you to be a CEO of your real fucking because you're nothing but a big bag of systems too. You got your central nervous system, your skeletal system, circulatory system, lymphatic system, digestive system. You know what I mean? You got all different systems, but you can literally be the CEO of this shit by going within you and literally observing these systems for yourself. Where I dare to say that I may have probably witnessed my immune system at one point when I was in between sleep. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't realize it was my immune system, you know what I mean, when I woke up. You see, if I would have woke up and not realized it was my immune system when I was in that state, I wouldn't have known it was my immune system. But I think it was my immune system because that's what I realized it was while I was in that state. If I would have woke up and not realized it was, I would have been like, yo, I just saw a bunch of shit happening. You know what I mean? Like, but the thing is, the blood cells and all that, the way I know it from diagrams and how people would look at it from videos and whatnot, that's not how it looked like. You know what I'm saying? It looked completely different. It just looked like particles and a bunch of, waves, a bunch of colors, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, there's certain things happening within you and you just have to have faith in yourself. But the faith is always externalized to religion. Notice how the biggest thing they tell you is you have to have faith in God. And whenever catastrophes happen, I have faith in the man upstairs. That's all I hear from everybody. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, you got to say, I have faith in this. You know what I'm saying? I have faith in self. I have faith in self, and everything is done because I have already put it in. See, the thing is, you already perceived it. It is, and it is done. Don't think about the process. I mentioned that in my previous video. The moment you start thinking about the process, you're trying to take over something that you have nothing to do with. It's the same way with the body, man. Just know your body is good. It's gonna take care of whatever it's gonna take care of because it is already done. You need to do nothing else. The moment you start to, I need to take medication. What do I take to combat? That's where you start to fucking go wrong. Yeah, I'm not saying, because the same way I'm telling you certain herbs, but you got to take these herbs yourself. Grow these herbs yourself. You'll see the big difference, man. I'm telling you. Start to learn the different types of herbs that you grow in your area. All right? They're good for your hormone. You seen a man with bad testosterone, man? I've seen them, bro. They're vibrating very low, bitchy. They're bad moods, you know what I'm saying? Their stomach starts to get all big, you know what I'm saying? Their sex drive sucks. And think about this. If your sex drive is bad, right, due to bad hormone levels, right? Think about that. That's a huge blockage in that area. And think about this though. That's where your creativity comes in, right? Why do you think these guys, when they're going through withdrawals from like hormone therapy, they start to get brain fog? Why is that? They can't even think clearly. You know what I'm saying? Everything is basically goes dormant. It goes shut. But it's the same thing. This because the body got used to, and these people did it in the interest of just looking better and getting bigger. But you got to understand that. It's the same way with food. So your body consists of trillions of cells. You are nothing but you have over 2 million different types of proteins in your body. Or it's 2,000, I forgot if it was 2,000 or 2 million different types of protein. I just had a brain fog right now, but my hormone levels are good. But I'm just thinking, it's not even I'm thinking, it's just that I'm going into a flow and I just, you know what I mean? Sometimes there's certain things that just slip your mind, but and all these proteins. But what happens when we take all these synthetic or artificial things that we take outside of us in the form of like animal protein and whatnot? Don't forget, we're not even supposed to be taking all these proteins in that much of an abundance. That's why your liver and your kidneys, or your kidneys especially, go into such shock and go into overdrive, and it actually messes up the body's natural chemistry, because your body can do all this shit on its own. You know what I mean? A little sunlight, you get the D3. Eat some healthy fats. You eat avocados, you know what I'm saying? And I'm growing my own avocados too. You know what I mean? But all these things is things that help you out. They help certain cholesterols that are good for you, certain cholesterols that are not good for you. People want to demonize carbs, but there's carbs that are good for you and carbs that are not good for you. You know what I mean? You're not going to eat carbs from like white bread and think that you're eating good carbs, but then you could get good carbs from certain fruits. You know what I mean? And if you look at carbohydrates, that's carbon, oxygen, hydrogen. You know what I mean? Carbohydrate, carbon, oxygen, hydrogen. You know what I mean? These are elements. Like it's like people are like, oh, I'm on a, you know, and there's different diets, you know what I mean? But again, everything works. It's just that everything that you're disciplined to and put your mind to, it will work for you, you know? But I think I spoke a lot about different things, man. You know, I'll give a shout out to Brother Panic, Dr. Alim Bey. You know, great information. If you ask me, his wife said, we got to become more self-sufficient. Yep, become more self-sufficient where you don't need, because the same way you got to depend on buying all these different supplements in pill form, you know what I'm saying? You know, you got to question that, man. It's still made in the laboratory. The same way your food, you know what I mean, is also, everything you're eating is made in laboratories. You get what I'm saying? So becoming self-sufficient is learning about these weeds. Look, what area are you in? Learn about the local herbs and what seasons they come in. See, this is the thing. You gotta be in tune with the seasons. That's being in tune with nature, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like certain seasons, you grow certain weeds, certain herbs. You know what I mean? And you could dry some of these herbs out and then put them and you store them for later use. You know what I mean? But think about this, man. The more of these you eat them fresh, you're intaking that pure life force. The same way when I told you, when I ate these eggs raw, that was pure life force. You get a high. When you drink your own urine, you get a high. Because see, this is the thing. That's what I was going to talk about before. I'm glad I remembered. I was going to cut this video short, but nah. You know, when we talk about adrenochrome, right? That's basically blood. But your urine is filtered blood. But when you're intaking animal protein, that's where you're really creating that 5% waste. Because if you look up what is urine is, see, that's what I like. Darth Vader's on the lookout, bro. And he's sun gazing, by the way. He's sun gazing, bro. I'm dead ass, yo, look. That dude's sun gazing. Charging up. But check this out. So, you know, if you look up what is urine is 95% water, right? And we're always, all these conspiracies about water. You see, we're so perfect that we literally even make the perfect water for us to consume. Aside from us growing these foods and all that and use it, because it's not about the air. You see the movie The Matrix. You think that's air you're breathing, Neo? Because it's not about the air. It's about the prana. It's about what's in the air. That's what you want to make sure that you're keeping your mindset on utilizing, right? That's what you want to keep. And there's different breathing techniques, you know what I mean? Covering your one nostril. And you know what I mean? I'm not going to talk about that now because I don't even have the methods perfectly recorded in my mind right now for me to even talk about it. But you could look these things up and see that there's certain breathing techniques that actually energize this vessel and turn yourself on. So now, yeah, the urine. So like, when you look up urine, that 5% waste, you start to think like, okay, let me look up what is the 5% waste. Do you know that it was actually hard for me to find what that 5% waste is? You know what I'm saying? And that 5% waste, literally, I found out that it's basically when you eat animal protein, it's ammonia, nitrogenous waste, all that shit that can't get processed through the liver gets transferred over to the kidneys, and that's what you urinate out. When you drink a lot of fluoride is what comes out in abundance in your urine, which is why it's important to clean yourself out first before you even practice urine therapy. But that's an actual practice. It's called Shivambu, and it's been around for ancient times. And that's the thing, a lot of the stuff that we were actually practicing back in the day was taken away, such as what Brother Panic and Dr. Alim Bey talked about on their video. You know what I mean? That turpentine shit they were talking about is something that was used back in the day by our ancestors. You know what I mean? But now what happens? Like me fucking telling somebody to take turpentine, I gotta ask my doctor. Because you trust your doctor. That's your new God. That's your God. Because in God we trust. That's what's on the dollar bill. So in God we trust. In the government we trust. Those are your gods. You have no trust in yourself. to try to experiment with certain things. Do a little research. No, you got to ask your doctor. Because if I tell you, like I've spoken to people, it's not like I tell them what to do, but I give them a suggestion. Hey man, you know, they used to do that back in the day. You should look up into that. It might help you out with certain things. See, the turpentine is, there's a certain kind, which is pure pine tar spirits. See, the pine comes from the pine cone of a tree. All these medicines are actually coming from nature. The pine cone is your pineal gland looks like a pine cone. You know what I'm saying? So all these things are readily available for you. You know? Has there been anybody to do research as to how to make turpentine from the actual sap of the tree? There's an actual method to doing that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, there's the food grade one you could buy. They spoke about the H2O2, which is the extra oxygen molecule that's in hydrogen peroxide. It's 35% hydrogen peroxide to oxygenate your body. You know what I mean? And they spoke about a lot of things, man. Very, very valuable information, man. Very valuable information. But it's still, to me, it's still separating the science and spirituality. To me, it's because when you take these pills, you'll buy them from the pharmacy and say, oh, you know, I heard from Brother Panic that these pills are good and I'm going to take them, and you have faith in these pills. But it's still just putting faith in something outside of you. See, the thing is that you have to combine. See, the shamans told you how to take ayahuasca. And they asked the shamans, how do you know how to combine these plants? And the shaman said the plants told us. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. That's combining science and spirituality. You have a communication with your plants. The plants, you have a gnosis as to what combination of herbs you're going to use, and you ingest it the same exact way. This is something that we should be taught as a child. And when you're a child, it'll be a lot easier to learn these things, because a child is all lit up and they're not really, they're more subconscious than anything else, right? So it's important to realize that science and spirituality is one. The fact that we had to open up the human body, the magic and the essence, the beauty of what this vessel is, all that just went away the moment you open up a vessel and start to learn all the science and chemistry behind all the fucking organs in detail. Because the crazy thing is, people are like, I'm going to detox this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. First of all, when you detox, you're detoxing your whole body. You know what I mean? When you intoxicate yourself, you're intoxicated. You know? When you eat healthy, your entire body's healthy. When you eat unhealthy, you're going to have disease. That's how I look at it. It's just like one big organism. It's just one big thing. Everything's connected. Even if you want to look at it on a physical level, from a diagram standpoint of view, everything's connected. You have the vagus nerve. That connects everything. All your organs are connected. All right? So even like just looking at it as one big organism, one big, you know, if I look at a seed, that's a magic seed to me. But the moment they open that seed and they start to tell me the chemistry, you know, it just loses that magic essence to it. It's not magic anymore. When a child is born, it's magic. You know? How it's just made in the womb. Look, they cut trees down, right? You have these ancient trees that don't even exist anymore, because these trees are actually small compared to the trees that used to be in existence. But why are they not there anymore? Because they were cut down. For what? All in the interest of, you know, science and learning about how old the tree was. Why didn't you just go into a meditation and try to connect with the tree and find out how old the tree was? The tree could, because there's technology that can tell you everything about the rings and how old the tree was and everything that's happened around. But the thing is, why couldn't it be done the other way around? Instead of opening up a body, why couldn't you just go within and figure out what's going on within you? That's basically combining science and spirituality, in my opinion. You know? And that's just how I perceive things. You don't have to agree with what I'm saying, you know? But, you know, you let's say you break a bone. You don't notice how back in the day they used to snap things back into place? You know what I'm saying? They snapped you back into place, and they used to use certain compressions and certain things to heal you. There was certain, believe it or not, there was certain frequencies that would heal a lot faster. Now we have them on the internet, you know what I mean, that you could listen to actually heal yourself a lot faster. And the whole shit is, you don't even know what you're listening to, Because a lot of the times, let's say there's people who say, well, listen to this frequency, 432 hertz on the computer, and put the headphones on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't really hear 432 hertz. These hertz are not even, just go into nature, let's say, where there's no, you know when you go into nature and you go into a mountains and then you don't have any reception on your phone? That to me is the perfect time to actually get in tune with these natural frequencies. You're not going to hear what you hear on the internet. You know what I'm saying? You're just going to hear the birds, the trees. But how beautiful is it when you're not associating the sounds of whatever animals are in nature, or whatever trees are brushing up against each other, whatever crackling noises you're hearing? The moment you start to associate certain sound with certain birds, it loses the magic of it. Just listening to all that as one thing is magic in and of itself. You're not saying, oh, I hear this kind of bird. Oh, I'm hearing this kind of animal. Oh, I'm hearing that tree sounds like it's brushing up against that kind of tree. No, just listen to it as just one happening. And it sounds like magic. It's magic. But all these things get blank because you can't really hear these things. It's naked. It's to your ears. You won't hear it. Like you're hearing constantly Wi-Fi. Believe it or not, there's been videos on it where all you hear is and sometimes people can't sleep because that's what they're hearing. What's funny is, I'm gonna close out this video. I might make another video on it. Believe it or not, the best way to do things here is to shut off. If you have a power button where you can shut off all the power in your house, shut off all the power in your house while you sleep. Meaning nothing, you have no power at all. Like, you can't flick the lights on and off. I'm going to tell you why. Did you know that the witching hour is between 3 and 3:30? And at that specific time is when computers update. If you have DirecTV or cable or whatnot, satellite, do you know that they do their updates at exactly that time? How funny is that? And why is that? That's the whole shit. Because one day I asked one of, my dish guy, I don't have that shit no more, but I asked the guy, why is it that I had a certain issue, and he says, no, make sure that it's always plugged in because these updates happen at 3 a.m. every day. And I'm like, at 3 a.m.? Why does it happen at 3 a.m. every day? Oh, that's just the time because most of the people are asleep, so that's the best time for updates to actually occur. So it makes sense now if I actually mentioned in my previous videos that your organs work at a certain time, and scientists actually tell you to go to sleep closer to like 9 p.m. So if you say 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, that's already 6 hours of sleep, which an adult doesn't really need any more than 6 hours of sleep. They should be getting up around that time, using that witching hour, and then when the sun is coming up, that's when you start to actually connect yourself to the sun and create more serotonin, that happy hormone that comes up. You know what I'm saying? Notice how you feel when you're in your room and you open the blinds and let the sun in. It kind of like feels like a refreshing energy. You know what I'm saying? So things like that are things to take into consideration to just think about. See, the indoctrination here is that,
hey, how you doing?
and just use a certain way. But I'm gonna cut this video short. I'll make another video on that.